Hey, 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 Dr. Barnes.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah,
That's sharp.
right? I like it too. It's like coming right at you. Just like we are. We're gonna be coming to you soon.
I
Where you
am
at?
the storm.
Oh shit. What does the storm entail, huh? What is Dr. Barnes about? Where are you from? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tampa, Florida. Originally from New York, though. That's where I grew up.
Tampa? What?
Yes.
I just took a trip down there in the summertime. Man, Tampa's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's a nice place. It's grown up a lot since I arrived. I arrived here in 2006, so I've been down here for a minute.
2006. Ooh, so you've been through a few serious hurricanes down there that have been through
Oh yeah, quite a few,
the what
quite
were
a
the
few.
two Russian twins? Remember it was like Ivan. I think it was Ivan. Was there an Ivan in there? Maybe there was another one.
Ivan was a bad one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was bad.
yeah.
I remember that one. I was living down there too. I was
Okay,
in the Air Force down there, SOCOM, McDill Air
okay.
Force Base.
Yeah, that's where I retired from.
Oh, you're retired
Oh yeah. I
from the
retired
military?
2009.
Oh my gosh, what'd you do?
27 years active service.
What was your specialty?
I started out as a B-52 radar navigator, combat aviator. I
What?
flew some missions during Desert Storm in the early 90s.
Wow.
And then, so I was on the bombers for 11 years. And then I was a staff geek for another 16 years. 9 of those years I was joint. So strategic command, European command, joint staff at the Pentagon. I retired out of Central Command. So yeah, a lot of joint work. I prefer the joint work.
Yeah.
Oh, by
Why do
far.
you prefer that over not
Because the
doing?
service work is all about money, and it's the Air Force competing with the Navy and the Army for dollars to get weapons, and it's boring. But the joint work is all about combat, so it's about coalition building. When I was at the Pentagon, I was the country desk officer for Romania and Bulgaria. So I got to travel to those countries doing mill to mill, military to military negotiations and support and stuff like that. And that's great work. I mean, the other work is good work too, but you know, being in the middle of stuff like that. When I was at Strategic Command, I was putting together the single link, the nuclear war plan against Russia way back when that was a thing. Yeah. So Central Command,
Man,
when I'm down here, I was working policy with Iraq and Afghanistan. So
wow, no pressure.
it
I liked
was
it too.
good. I loved it all.
I liked working yeah, joint also. I think some of my best oh, let's see. I wouldn't say best memories. I would just say most what's the word for that? I wouldn't say exciting. That's not a good word.
Yeah,
Maybe
vivid. Um,
oh man.
yeah,
Most no, I don't want to say action
sig-
either.
significant.
Okay, I guess yeah, significant to the mission, right? Or
Yeah.
most impactful to the mission would be yeah,
Hmm.
joint operations with yeah, Army
Yeah,
Rangers, yeah,
yeah.
Navy SEALs,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
those guys. Oh yeah, down Afghanistan. Those are some really impactful time to the mission, and
yeah.
because at home, right at home, it's just readiness,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
training, and then boom, there we go and put those skills to the test, and yeah, that's
E-
where
exactly. And you just hit the nail on the head. That is the biggest difference between service work and joint work. Service work is all about readiness.
mhm.
Preparation, resources. You know,
And then you got out, and what'd you do when you got out?
I decided I didn't want to work for anybody anymore, so I started down the entrepreneurial path.
You just kind of knew you didn't want to like work for somebody. You just wanted to work for yourself. How did you know
Yeah,
that?
well, I'm a strategic thinker by birth, by nature, by gift, by talent. And as I started to get to the high levels of rank in the Air Force, I retired as a colonel in '06. And as I started to get to that level, it became clear that strategic thinking on the staff level was never going to work because we're all driven by short term goals and objectives. and it's corporate, it's bureaucracy. There's really no way around it because they move us around so frequently. I would say to the general officer, sir, if we don't do it this way, we're never going to get to the objective that we say we want to get to. Yeah, Russ, I get that. But what you're talking about is going to take 6 to 7 years to see the results of the work that and the foundation we're building. And I'm not going to be around that long. The next guy's going to come in and change everything anyway. So we need to get done what we can get done right now. And I understood that. So I said, well, it's time so I retired at 27. I could have stayed till 30 as a colonel. And then I said, corporate's no different. Corporate's driven by quarterly profits, driven by the shareholders. And they're going to, if you're a CEO, your fiduciary responsibility is to quarterly earnings. And I said, so it's not going to be different if I go that path. And so that's when I said, I'm going to need to go if I want to implement strategically, I need to go my own way.
Yeah, you can actually make all the decisions, make all the impact, and adjust as needed as your own, your own entity, your own boss. Because the other shit, like you said, the bureaucracy, the red tape, you got to wait, you got to fulfill someone else's purpose, someone else's like agenda. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I know that I can get this done this way. And they're like, well, like you said, like you just said that, well, it's not going to have an effect while I'm in office. So
yes,
they're like, wait a minute, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, generals, they're in a position, or you're in a position two maybe 3 years, 3 years at the most. The shortest term. Well, the shortest term I had, I think, was like a year in a particular job. I was the chief of the Intel Plans Requirements Division in European Command for 1 year. And if you don't get stuff done,
time to go.
What's the point? And then promotion is part of it, but promotion isn't as much as if I don't do this, I won't get promoted. It's if I don't do this, I won't have an opportunity to do anything else at a higher level. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't get promoted, this is where it ends. So I have to factor that in, that if I want to have a bigger impact at a higher level, I have to factor in what it takes to get promoted.
Damn. So yeah, it's just a system. It's just that's how they designed it. So that's how it's going to be, right?
It's the system, right? It's the system, and the corporate system is no different. Yeah. And so when I retired, I said, I don't want to work for anybody ever again. Yes. I need to create my own thing. And the plan that I'm working on with Systro Solutions, I put in place I set the objectives back in 2015. So I'm 10 years into my program.
And you can make it happen at the boss.
Yeah, exactly. And my intent for my company, even way back when, before all the technology even caught up, was I want to help 600,000 micro business owners become purposefully profitable.
Damn. And have you succeeded at that?
Oh no, I'm not even close, really, in terms of the number, but in terms of the frameworks that I've put together, it's getting to the point where it's possible. So when I started this back in 2015, we didn't have AI. There were a lot of things that didn't exist back in 2015 that now exist, that have given me the ability to automate so that I can extend my reach. I knew what I wanted to do. It just, it was almost like Uber. There were people who tried this Uber idea way before Uber did, but the smartphone didn't exist. So it wasn't until the smartphone came into existence that the capability, and then the mindset had to come into existence, because my generation, we weren't about to get in somebody else's car.
There's so much that has to happen, has to align, right? Like culture,
right. But I guess it was the millennials who came through and said, hey, you know what? If it saves me time and it saves me money and it gets me where I want to go and I don't have to wait for a cab, sign me up.
So what's on your plate right now? What are you up to? What are you working on?
Right now, I have two products that I work on with my company. One is a business readiness assessment, and I've been evolving that. And so that's my number one automated revenue generator. And then I've created a revenue strategy development app based upon the decision making templates that I created. Now I've had my tech people code that into an app, and now we're building a Gemini AI engine behind that, so that people can access my brain without me being the one on the phone or on the Zoom call to get that
Whoa,
done. And now
man, you're like
that's
transcendence over here. You've seen that movie?
yes,
Yeah, you're putting yourself on the internet, your mind. That's
yes,
fucking
and
awesome.
and I've put this one on the back burner, but I won't. I have aspirations to get into the blockchain side of things with digital assets, so that then people can use cryptocurrency to go ahead and get access to the tools
Nice.
that I provide. So those are the top three things on my plate, the central things on my plate, and everything else sort of migrates around those things.
So the readiness thing, did the military kind of help ignite that?
No,
No.
um,
I thought for
that
sure you were
came
gonna say
from,
yes.
well, and to a certain degree, everything did come from the military, because the experiences that I had in leadership, the experiences that I had in um, developing structures, in organization development and organization design, um, even the bureaucracy, even the bureaucratic aspects of it, all had an influence on my mindset. So when I came out, there were a lot of things that I learned and experienced in the military that just the non-military community didn't know anything about. Um, and using those things to create what I've created, I won't minimize that at all.
Yeah.
No, from that aspect, but for the specific readiness aspect, the readiness in the military is different than what I'm talking about with the business readiness
Okay.
assessment.
Can you
This
go into
one,
that a little bit? What are we talking
yeah,
about?
this has to do with how prepared are you as an individual to start and continue on this journey to entrepreneurial success. We have no idea, because we don't know what it takes. We don't know what's involved. We don't know what even to think about when it comes to this idea. And so it's persistence, it's drive, it's determination, it's some sort of an obsession that gets people to be successful when it comes to starting a business with an idea. Now you can start a business like a landscaping business, and that's a different thing entirely. You can buy a business, and that's another thing entirely. But you wouldn't even make those decisions if you didn't know how ready you were. So I didn't know. I knew I was not ready. So I made the decision to buy into a franchise, become a franchisee, take time to learn what it took to be in business, even from the perspective of my personality. Can I even do this with my personality? And that's how I got prepared. Okay. So the business readiness assessment is based upon a study that came out of my PhD, which was 75 business owners who started with zero, took their businesses to $100 million in annual revenue. I focused on what they did in the pre-profitability stage and saw what emerged. And what emerged in terms of their thinking is what prepared them to position themselves to achieve that kind of success. And if all of them didn't do it, it didn't count. So if 74 of them, if this one thing emerged from 74, but there was one person who succeeded in getting that done, but didn't do that thing, it was eliminated.
So we're talking about like behavioral, psychological readiness.
Yes.
Do the okay.
We're talking about what questions did they ask themselves? What questions did they ask others? There are 6 levels to the framework that the business readiness assessment is based upon. Is personal development, is product development, platform development, There's business development, sales, of course. There's mass market development. There's organization development. All of these things need to be considered in context if you're going to succeed in business.
So is this like an aptitude test, but for preparation to be able to start your own like business? And then it tells
It's
you where you're weak and where you should like practice or where you need to be stronger in.
No, so that's a good point, because it's not an aptitude test or capabilities, assessment. It's a reflective tool. So the way we think determines how we act, of course. And if we're not thinking about the right things at the right time in the right order, we're going to flounder around. So what the business readiness assessment does is it gives you questions in each category that says, did you think about this enough? In personal development, do you have a mentor? Have you started more than one company? Do you know what your personal objectives are for building this company? Things like that.
So you're asking, you're really just asking the right questions. You're asking.
That's correct. I'm giving people the right questions to ask so that then they can go out, and it helps in a number of ways. One, it reduces your sense of overwhelm, because instead of saying, oh, I have to do this and this and this and this and this and this, you say, oh, it's going to take all of these things to get to where I want to go, but I only have to do this one right now. And if I get this one done, it's like running a marathon. You got to take every step. You can't hop, skip, things all the way to the end of the marathon. You got to take every single step along the way. And it's no different in business. You can accelerate, but you just can't leap. You can't leap. Well, let me.
You can't take a shortcut.
You can't take a shortcut. That's it. Yeah. That's it. You can accelerate, but you can't take a shortcut. And remember the lady in the New York City Marathon years and years ago? She got on the subway.
She just showed up at the end. Wait a minute, you can't do that. You're gonna get busted.
Not sweating, not breathing hard.
This isn't right. You're like, this isn't true. You can't.
Something doesn't look right here.
Yeah. What sparked you to even do something like this? To just to think of doing this?
It's all an evolution, and one of the things that I do teach is that everything starts with a problem, and if it's a painful and urgent problem that has consequences, and then you kind of feel like you can solve that particular problem, and maybe better than someone else who's trying to do it, or maybe nobody's ever tried. And in my case, it was a situation where I didn't think anybody had even tried, because I'm working with business owners in the pre-profitability stage. So by definition, they have no money. And who wants to try to build a business based on working with people who have no money? And I had to figure that part out. But that category of people were suffering. And the suffering hurt my heart. I was in the same boat. And it just became something that I said, this has to be fixed. And I think I can do it. I think I can do it. So
are you going to be speaking here at a Military Creator Con?
No.
We're gonna be.
I am.
Why?
I'm one of the organizers. I'm on the management team, so to speak.
I don't know, man. I think you should speak. This sounds like something that people should know. It's not just not from a sales point of view, but from like a knowledge base.
Right.
Like, hey, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
They do, because I'm coming. Even though I've been doing this for such a long time, I'm still coming at it from a perspective that other people haven't really adopted. I recognize that I was a strategist, and I'm a born strategist. It's my gift. It's my talent. And when I started this, and I would tell people I'm a strategist, they had no idea. It was, well, what the heck is that? So even the clients that I would work with, instead of introducing me as a strategist, they would tell their friends, oh, this is Dr. Russ Barnes. He's my business coach. And I just kind of chuckled, because I told them a ton of times I am not a coach. But I understood what was happening. They couldn't express it and explain it. But now you hear everybody under the sun calling themselves a strategist. So, because of that, when I do present, then it blows people. I just did a seminar with IVMF at Syracuse University about a week ago, And usually there's about 70, 80 people in there. And usually after that seminar, about 20 to 25 of them will contact me on LinkedIn. A couple of them will set appointments to talk to me. And I actually talked to two of them last week, and both of them said, we couldn't understand why you weren't the very first, because they had me slotted in as the last seminar of the course. And we don't understand why you weren't the first. We needed you to be the first. I talked to one guy said, I talked to 25 people and they all said the exact same thing. You needed to be first.
Well, maybe they save the best for last. Like at a concert, they don't show like Guns N' Roses in the beginning. They got to show those guys in the end. You got some people getting so they stay.
They programmed me in last year. So we set the dates for which cohorts I was going to speak at last year. So they probably at that point didn't know where in that curriculum I would be best placed. And that's how I explained it to the folks that I was talking to. They probably didn't really realize where I would have the most impact with my presentation. They just knew that I did strategy development. They knew that I had some tools that were valuable and effective, and
for
they
sure.
made the decision based on that.
Valuable, very valuable. I mean, most of the people that are going to Military Creator Con are creators that are trying to start something.
That's right.
This is the fucking great time, a great information to help start.
That's right.
Right? It's like the roadmap. It's like, here's my blueprint. Like, this is what I need to start. Like, if you hadn't even started, some people may already go but you could even use this information for if you've already started, because you may have missed some steps. You're like, oh, let me go back and
I had a client who was a general contractor already doing $250,000 in annual revenue, money coming in the door. But if you know much about general contractor, you know that that's still a precarious situation, because the amount of money, the amount of money that you have to put out, to actually execute a job could cause you to be unprofitable in that particular project, and could suck up all the resources that you have and more, not to mention the risk. And so he was a client of mine, and that's what we did. We went right back to the foundation. These are the foundational things that you need. Now you can build upon these, and now that sense of vulnerability is less. I won't say it completely goes away, because it never really does. But now this individual could say, oh, okay, if the environment changes around me, these are the things I need to be thinking about so that I can then adapt, adjust, and move forward. And it works. I had a good friend. He wasn't a client. I had a good friend of mine who is he's in Florida. He's on the other coast over there. And when COVID hit, he sat down with his team. He was doing good business, sat down with his team and said, hey, we can't do business the way we've been doing business. We need to think of another way to help the people who are continuing to struggle with the problem that we solve. How do we do that? And they came up with some really good ideas. And he came out of COVID with a business that was doing things different, better, more profitably. And then he was able to go back and pull in the things that he was doing before COVID. So that's what I'm talking about.
Now, are you not speaking because you don't want to, or because there are spots? I urge you, because I would love to go and sit in on this. Like, you give me a taste of it, right? Because I just started up my own nonprofit organization a few months ago, and there's probably a shit ton of steps that I forgot or haven't even done yet, right? To help, like, either expand or to make it more successful. Is there? I mean, what do we got to do to get you up there, up on the stage? Next up on the stage,
doesn't take much. I just have to pass this sentiment on tomorrow and see what she says.
Yeah. Well, after she sees this, then maybe she'll give you a call.
I'm sure she will.
Because for real, like I mean, can you give me like a quick taste? So let's just say, so what can you release, like, what are, like, are there certain steps that most people miss during this readiness that you've noticed in your time statistically?
It's it's hard to say certain steps because what I'm dealing with is people who don't know what the steps are.
Okay.
So they're just doing things. So, for example, if you read the Small Business Administration magazine that tells you how to start a business, it says one of the first things you need to do is register your company as an LLC.
Okay.
90% of businesses that are registered, at least on SunBiz in Florida, are inactive because it's not the first thing you need to do. So the first thing you need to do, if we want to talk about it step by step, the first thing you need to do is, number one, understand what your skills, talents, and abilities are as an individual. Most of us run away from that. We think it's so easy, anybody can do it. But what's easy for us,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, you know, what's easy for us, that's hard for others, is where we can make our money. Because we're solving people's problems. So we're giving them a benefit. They should give us compensation. And it makes it easier on us so that we now, when we wake up in the morning, we feel powerful. So the first step is figure out, number one, what your talents are. I didn't figure mine out until even though you know intuitively, I didn't really figure mine out definitively until I was about 48 years old.
Damn.
So, you
Starting
know,
out late in life.
well,
That's
at that
better than
point,
not.
because
Better than not
again,
starting.
you know, I made the decision to not work for anybody ever again once I retired from the military. So I didn't even really think about it much because I was thinking about my career and what I had to do in my career and raising my family. My wife and I have 4 sons. So I give you, this is why there's a differentiator, because I'm giving you a completely different perspective on what it takes to start a business. So once you know what you're good at, what inspires you, what motivates you, what you're happy doing, what you're strong at, now the thing becomes, what are people struggling with that's painful, urgent, it has consequences, and they don't have a solution. Either they don't want to do it themselves. Maybe they could do it themselves, but they don't want to, or they can't do it themselves. But there's something in there that says, I want somebody else to help me or to do this for me. And if you're the one, I'm willing to pay you. I pay convenience fees all the time. I call landscaping around my house or cutting the grass or cleaning the pool. Those are convenience fees because I can do those. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'll happily pay somebody to come in here and do those kinds of things. So you can build a business on the things that people don't want to do that you feel really good about doing. So that's the first thing. The first thing is who you are and what you're good at. The second thing is who can you help? And there's a book called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. And the law of compensation is the 5th law in that book. And it says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them.
Damn. That's so true. You just saved me that whole read right there. That's the nugget right there.
That's the nugget. That's the nugget that I take away, because there are 4 or 6 other laws, but that's the one that I quote the most because that's the one that had the most impact on me. That's why helping 600,000 micro business owners become purposefully profitable is a powerful mission for me. And think about how much money that is.
That's a lot. It's a lot, man. Gosh darn it. And how do we reach everybody though? Gosh.
Well, that's where the majority of my work is right now is, and again, why I said a number that large is because I know I can't reach everybody, but I want to be able to reach enough people so that I can have a positive impact on the economic development of communities. And I can't do that by coaching. I can't do that by consulting, webinars and seminars and all those kind of things. It's got to be bigger than that. So my business readiness assessment is a powerful enough tool to reach a lot of people and set them on a purposeful path. It was a long time in development, but I get the feedback from people when they take it that it's getting the desired effect. So that's my primary revenue generator that I use. And then the revenue strategy development app coming along behind that just gives you more in-depth.
I love that. I love that mentality, man. That's a real fucking entrepreneur mindset right there. It's not just,
Yeah,
I'm just going to do this one thing and do that. You can do several things.
that's right.
Sprinkle that knowledge all the way through, and you have several
That's
different
right.
streams of revenue coming in
That's right.
instead of
That's
just the
right.
one
That's right.
thing.
And
Man.
that's one of the other challenges is that I find so many people who put themselves in the category of entrepreneur, and you say, well, what's your business? What do you do? And they run off 5 different businesses that they're doing. And I'll say, well, it's very hard to run one business. How are you running 5? And the 5 are unrelated. So where does the time come from to be able to put in what needs to be put in so that you get out what it is that you
Mm-hmm.
need? And those are people that I say they're very comfortable being in the business of being in business, but
Mm.
we want to be in the business of making money while making a difference.
Yes.
You
Be
know,
profitable. Where's that
Mhm.
revenue, man?
That's
Yeah, because
right.
you can, I could start up like 5 businesses if I want, but that doesn't mean they're going to be successful. I don't have enough time in the day to give those, the attention that they need.
You
Maybe if
don't.
I build one and then I start another one and have that one work, and then the next one work for itself, but not at one
And,
time.
and, and, and that's what I do. That's what I will do with someone like that. I won't discourage them from having 5 businesses. You know, they may be passionate about all 5, but then we're going to need to work on a priority. We're going to need to work on a sequence. We're going to need to create some kind of synergy. Um, you know, maybe you take the approach of I'm going to focus on developing my skills as a managing CEO of an umbrella company that oversees these 5 companies, and I'm going to have a director who's going to be in charge of each one of those companies so that I don't have to be involved specifically in the day to day. But that's higher level leadership. You know,
Mm.
how many people are ready for that level of leadership to be able to take that approach?
Are you're going to
But
be going,
it's
right?
possible. It's within the realm
You're
of possibility.
where you'll be attending, right? The MCC Military
Oh
Creative
yeah,
Con.
yeah. Like I said, I'm one of the ones who'll be kind of running the show behind the scenes with Mara and James, whatever it is that, right now I'm responsible for the programming and that, that area and aspect of things. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So even if you,
Last time we did Military Creator Con, I was the master of ceremonies.
hmm,
So she hasn't told me that I'm going to be doing that this year, but that's what I did last year.
I think we need to uh, put you in a different spot, man. I think you got a lot of information, a lot of intelligence that we need to tap. At
Yeah.
least what you're willing to give for free, anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you've solved the fucking problem and you have the solution, and a lot of us like could use at
Mhm.
least some of that part of that
Right.
solution, because right, we're creators, we want to go, but most of us don't know how. We know we want, like you
That's
said, like you got out and you're like, I know I don't want to work for somebody for 9 to 5, because whether it's just I know I can be more productive on my own, or I've got this thing I want to start, I just don't know how to start it. You got you've got a part of that solution right there. It's right inside.
mhm,
Like, are you ready? Are you ready to do it?
mhm, mhm,
Because you may
mhm.
want everything. I want to do this,
That's
but
right.
that doesn't mean you're ready to do it.
That's right.
Then
That's
you
right.
can apply the training, right? Just like I want to do a marathon, but I can't
Mhm.
just go out and do it. I would hurt myself, man. If
That's
I'm not
right.
ready, if I'm not trained.
That's
So you
right.
provide that,
That's right.
the strategy, the training for someone to get prepared. I love that. Fuck yeah,
Yep.
bro.
Yep.
So if you're
That's
going, maybe we can schedule some time. I'd love to talk with you because I'm going to be doing this, but
yeah.
there live, and I'd love to
Mhm.
pick your brain a little bit more. We
Yeah.
can
No
talk more
problem.
about this strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a person of abundance, and I say that we're here to share with the world. Make people better, make it a better place than where we got here. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, man. Is there anything else you'd like to share for for the viewers about what you're doing, what you're working on, how to reach you? Like,
Well, I do like when people reach out on LinkedIn and connect with me on LinkedIn. It leads to some good conversations, even on LinkedIn that I can't get to, whether, it's Instagram or some other platform. I really do like that one. And, So connecting with me on LinkedIn is definitely a preferred way to reach out.
I will be connecting with you on there if I'm not already. I don't think I am, but
Yes,
I'll be reaching out because
absolutely.
I've been working on a lot of stuff, a
Hmm.
lot of different. Maybe there's other people can connect with me on this, but I've been working on a lot of things, but I'm not bringing in a lot of money.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm busy. I'm busy, but I'm not monetizing any of this stuff that I've done, any of the content, any of these things I've done. And I just need look. I know when to say I don't know, right?
Yes.
Like I don't
And
fucking know.
that's important. You know, it's I actually learned that in the military because the culture and leadership when I first came in the military is you don't say you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If the boss asks you something, if you don't know, you better make something up that sounds really good. But I don't know. And there just came a point when I got fed up with it. And I just said, you know what? I don't know. I'll go
Yeah.
find you an answer. But at
Mm-hmm.
this moment in time, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't say it with that kind of an attitude or anything like that.
I learned one of the most important those that is one of the most important lessons that I learned as an intelligence officer in the Air Force. Excuse me, intelligence analyst in the Air Force is knowing when to say I don't know, because
Right.
there's a lot of times when you're in a situation and they're like, okay, so what's going on here, and then you're pressured to just make something up on the spot
That's right.
or kind of best guess.
That's right.
Like you don't present it as a best guess. It's like, okay, then they're going to say it's gospel. We assume that you use the right channels and the right people to gather that information, and I learned that the hard way during an exercise in Korea
Hmm.
when I went ahead and I said, I was like, my commander at the time, we're doing the joint exercise with the Republic of Korea out there. And yeah, I was like, I gave him my best guess. And she was like, are you sure about that? Yeah, because this isn't her first, right? I was like, yeah, sure. And she's like, okay, well, let me pull you aside real quick. And she let me have it. She was like, actually, that's inaccurate. And I know that you just kind of made that shit up. And that information you would have gotten one of our fighter pilots killed. And
Hmm.
god dang it, man, that really got to me. I was like, shit. I was like, okay, I can see that where that leads, and you're absolutely right. And
Hmm.
that's when I learned. I was like, okay, do your research, do your homework, and either say, I don't fucking know, or I really know. And I really learned that lesson. And that lesson really helped me in the real world in Afghanistan when I was working with Army Rangers up there, task force. And some Navy SEALs, they approached me by name. They're like, hey, Rex, we need you to help us with this special secret mission up there. And I knew then if I didn't give you the right information, people were going to die. That was like right that fucking full circle. And I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing here because I learned throughout my career. I was like, okay, since that incident in Korea, I can put my name on the line here. You can take me with you on this mission. And that's how confident I am in what I'm doing is that I will go with you because I'm so sure of this. But yeah, it all comes back to if you don't know, man, just say you don't know. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. We can't know everything. So
We can.
just be straight up and honest about it. I don't know
Yeah.
shit. And I'm telling you, I don't know how to monetize any of this. So
Hmm.
maybe there's a lot of other people that are doing busy stuff and they're keeping themselves busy and they're creating things, but they just don't know how to make money off of it. So
Hmm. There are.
maybe we can connect with people like you that kind of
Yeah.
know how to do something like this. And I think
Yeah.
we can really do that at Military Creator Con in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah. I am all about the how because um, people will tell you what you need to do, but they won't tell you how. Even about numbers, for example, they'll say in your business, you need to know your numbers. Well, what numbers are they talking about? And how do you figure out what those numbers are? And then how do you figure out what to do with those numbers? They just tell you you need to know your numbers. And we gotta do better than that by people
Yeah,
who
that
are trying to and I give a lot of credit to anyone who has the courage to say I'm taking my financial future into my own hands. I'm taking my freedom into my own hands, and whatever it takes for me to be able to do this thing, I'm going to do it. One of another clients that I work with, he was in the culinary business, and man, he was passionate about what he was doing, but everything he tried somehow got derailed. And probably 5 times he had to step away from the business he was building to go back and work for a restaurant or go back and work for, you know, to build back up the revenue that he needed to get back in the game. But he never quit.
That's
he never
a
quit.
Real entrepreneur warrior right there. That no quit attitude. Because I was just talking with Mara the other day. That was yesterday. Dang, time it's just escaping me.
Oh wow,
that was just yesterday. We were doing our interview with her, and she was telling me about how she started her first business, or technically second business, and she didn't see success until 9 years later. I was like, fuck. Like thinking about people, this culture today, like generation millennial X, we're waiting to see success in like 6 months, right? Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen anything in 6 months or a year. And it's like, well, and then they give up. It's like, okay, that's not really an entrepreneur mindset. You got to keep going, adjust. Like you said, adjust, adapt, overcome.
That's right. That's right. That the long term delayed gratification is a challenge. I don't think it's beyond them, but I don't think that they have grown up in a cultural sense that says this is within the realm of possibility. If I want what I want, then I have to put in the time and take and let it grow. Yeah. I guess it is. It's the microwave mentality.
Yeah, right. I want it 2 minutes ago.
It doesn't take 2 hours to cook a meal.
Because they may have seen like, or what this false advertisement they see on the internet, you know, and it's like all these success stories, overnight success stories. Like, well, that's a lightning strike kind of situation. Like things take time. Like we just mentioned earlier, timing, technology, right? These things have to come together sometimes for it to work. It's not just gonna boom and there it goes. You know, just because you went viral on something doesn't mean that's you just got lucky. You know?
Yeah, that's another good point too, because when you grow up in this social media, you see the highlights of people's lives and you see the successes that they've achieved, and you think that it just happened. But I used to joke and I used to tell people, man, it's only 4 more years before I become an overnight success.
4 more years.
And people think it does. They think it comes in. Then there are people who are trying to take shortcuts. You know, they'll go out and they'll rent a mansion and some big luxury cars, and they'll park the cars out in front, and they'll do a advertisement about how they were able to make $10 million in 10 days, and people are buying it.
It's fucking fake, man. It's fake. Real entrepreneurs, real business people. It takes work, dedication, grit.
So this is again where it's very important for me in what I do. It's measures. And when I'm working with someone and they get to understand that what they want is going to take some time. Now they have to make a decision as to whether they're going to quit or whether they really want what they want. Now, when they have decided that they want what they want and we map out the path, it's like any map. You make the map, but then you have to execute the map. And in executing the map, a lot of stuff is not going to go as planned. But if you can see that you're progressing, now you can satisfy that gratification while you're still moving forward to the ultimate outcome. You can say, okay, I didn't get the ultimate outcome in 10 days, but I did do this and I did do that. And I'm seeing my revenue increase. And if I keep doing this, then my revenue is going to increase some more. And then you get in a group of people who believe what you believe, you know, Simon Sinek. And, you know, and then that keeps them in the game. I did a presentation with a academic class a week ago or so, and I asked them what was their time horizon, because all of us think in a certain time horizon. My time horizon is about 20 years. One of the young ladies that I called on in the class, she said hers was about 5 years. And I said, then that's how far you should be thinking. Don't try to make, don't let anyone try to tell you you need to think longer or you need to think shorter. You need to think in the time frame that works for you. And so um, that's important in the thing, because some of the folks that are younger, they may be thinking in a 6-month time horizon. Where am I going to be in 6 months? Not where am I going to be in 5 years? Where am I going to be when I'm 85 years old? They're thinking, where am I going to be in 6 months? I got bills to pay.
6 months going to come real quick.
It's going to come real quick. Let me go live with mom and dad, because
it's just like school. I bet when you first started school, you weren't thinking you were going to be a doctor, or how much you knew how much school that was going to be. And it's thinking of the end. It's like, oh, it can be so depressing. You're like, gosh, it's that much.
So that's the other thing too, is even in setting out some objectives, there's some play in there. I never wanted to be a doctor. I had no aspirations in my life to be a PhD. I have an older brother who had a doctorate, and for like 6 years, he was like, you should go get your doctorate. It had no meaning for me. It had no meaningfulness to me. I don't care if people call me doctor, they'll call me doctor. And the amount of work that you put into a doctorate, I'm not going to do that amount of work for somebody to call me doctor. and in many cases, a lot of these folks who are getting PhDs, they're not even really, reaping the financial benefit of having, achieved that PhD. What got me into the doctorate program was that when I realized that organization development and organization design as the underpinnings of strategy development were necessary, and I didn't know enough to put together the models that I needed to execute effectively. I already had 2 master's degrees and I had the GI Bill. I said, I'm going to go get a PhD in organization development. It specifically had to be with a specialty in organization design. So I looked around the country to see which schools had organization design, and there was only one, which was in Illinois. So I flew from Florida to Illinois, twice a month to go to class for 2 years. Damn. To get the academics for my PhD. And then the 3rd year is when you're doing your dissertation, and then you have to do your defense. So that's how committed I was to what I wanted, but it had nothing to do with,
getting the doctor. You wanted that information, and that information led you to just nothing.
That's right. I needed it. I needed that community. And even the same thing, I got my master's degree because, you needed to have that in order to get promoted to major. My second master's degree was Air War College. Yeah, it was Air War College. They award you a master's degree for completing Air War College. Nice. So in residence. So I did that.
Gosh, this is like one thing that I'm really excited about going to the Military Creator Con next year.
Yeah.
Meeting new people, connecting, adding them to my tribe. What can I do for you? What can you do for me? Let's help each other. Just earlier today, I was talking with one of my new, I call them tribesmen, right? One of my new tribesmen, because they're not my friends, right? Friends are like people you hang out with. These are we have common goals, common objectives, and we're helping each other climb that ladder to success. So I was just earlier, right? She was like asking me, hey, Rex, can you talk to me about what kind of software you use for this, for that? I'm thinking about purchasing this to help. I'm saying, look, you're part of my tribe. What do you need? Tell me, let's go through the vision. Let's walk through the steps on how you want to create your thing. I will do that for you. I'll do it for you. It'll only take me a few minutes. There's no reason why I got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. And we're both kind of working towards the same goal. Like, let's help each other out. I'll help you. You help me with something later, a project or whatever. And let's fucking rock and roll, man. Mm-hmm. This is why I'm looking forward to going there, because you hook up with badass individuals like yourself that you can somehow add and listen. I can listen and learn and fill in the gaps of those things that I just don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And we need that. We need the tribe. I love that you use that term, because as much as I may know, I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking forward to at the Creator Con?
Just what you said, sort of the
Yeah.
ability to connect with people, to sit and have these kind of conversations, learn, share,
Mm.
and create memories that when you go away, you're always going to think, wow, that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing like making that human connection. You're going to remember what you've learned there because you were in person. You were there with somebody, right? You remembered how they spoke, how they talked, that handshake, that connection. It's not the same. Online, like this is great. I would have loved to do this, what we're doing, but in person because there's just a different. You're using more senses, using more of your
Yeah.
right your body to just connect with somebody, and
Right.
man, you remember things better that way. But I'll
Mhm.
get what I can take. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to go. I can't wait to meet you there. Maybe get
All
you
right.
on another cast so we can talk more business.
All right.
I
We'll
love
see.
it. I love it. Thank you for coming on the show. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Dr. Barnes, what you have to offer, what's your value, and what you've done so far. Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you also for your military service.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
thank you. And same. Thanks for yours. Um, I'm very happy I had an opportunity to be on the show and to share with you and to share with others. And I really commend you highly for what you're doing because you've given me a voice to people that I'm never going to see. You know,
Yeah.
and that's important. That's
Hell yeah.
important to my mission, and I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. We will see
All
you
right,
soon.
all right, and have a happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.